For decades, this plant has been demonized, idolized, and turned into a taboo. But what about now? Can it really relieve chronic pain, treat diseases like epilepsy, and even combat anxiety? Or are we just risking our health for a marketing-driven trend full of misinformation? In this video, we'll separate fact from fiction. What does science truly say about the medicinal benefits of cannabis? What are the risks of its uncontrolled use? If you've ever wondered whether marijuana could be the solution to a health issue, or are simply curious about what lies behind this green revolution, stay with me until the end. After all, understanding is the first step toward making an informed decision.
In a nutshell, that in a nutshell,
Have you ever wondered if cannabis can truly cure diseases? Or if it's just another dangerous trend? In an era where the plant is increasingly available in pharmacies and even casual conversations, it's normal to ask, are we entering the age of revolutionary alternative medicine, or just riding another wave of false promises? Some claim cannabis can treat everything from chronic pain to anxiety, while others warn of the dangers of an unregulated market and uncontrolled use. But in the end, who's right? And, more importantly, what do you need to know before making any decisions about cannabis use? In today's video, we'll help you understand the real benefits of cannabis, the risks of misuse, and most importantly, how to make a responsible choice. Stay with me, and let's figure this out together. Cannabis is not a modern novelty. In fact, its medicinal use dates back thousands of years. The Egyptians, the Chinese, and other ancient civilizations used the plant to relieve pain and even treat conditions like inflammation and digestive disorders. But what happened in the 20th century? Well, in the early 1900s, cannabis began to be demonized. In the United States, the plant was associated with crime and marginalized cultures, resulting in an unrelenting prohibition campaign. The plant was forgotten in the shadows for decades. Now, with the legalization of cannabis in various parts of the world, we're seeing a resurgence in its medicinal use. But is this a true revolution in medicine, or are we just repeating the same mistakes of the past? But don't be fooled. This doesn't mean it's going to cure everything. Cannabis is effective for relieving pain, but it doesn't eliminate the underlying condition. Now, in the realm of neurological diseases, CBD, another compound found in cannabis, has shown promising results, especially in treating epilepsy. Patients like Charlotte Figge, who suffered from severe epilepsy, saw their lives transformed after using CBD. Science has proven it can reduce the frequency of seizures in many cases. But what about anxiety and depression? CBD also appears to be an interesting alternative, helping to regulate anxiety levels and, in some cases, even replacing more aggressive pharmaceutical treatments. Of course, like any treatment, it works for some people, but not for everyone. However, before you go thinking cannabis is some sort of miracle cure, it's important to clarify. The plant has proven benefits for certain conditions, but it's not a cure-all. Science is still far from understanding the full potential of cannabis. Now, let's not kid ourselves. Cannabis also has its risks. And honestly, this is where a lot of people get lost. Did you know that excessive cannabis use can cause severe psychological effects? If you've ever seen a friend spend hours in a bad trip after smoking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For users with a genetic predisposition to mental disorders, Cannabis use can trigger or worsen conditions like anxiety, paranoia, and even psychosis. And if you think this is rare, the truth is, studies show a significant number of cannabis users experience negative mental health effects, especially when there's no proper oversight. But there's more. Dependence. Ah, yes, the infamous addiction. While cannabis isn't as addictive as other substances, excessive recreational use can lead to psychological dependence. If you think this is just a prohibitionist myth, science confirms that some people can develop a dependence on the plant, especially if they start using it early on. When we talk about cannabis, we're not just talking about health. We're also talking about money, culture, and power. Legalization has created a billion-dollar industry, with cannabis companies thriving and governments raking in millions in taxes. But what's the cost of this? Cannabis, once a marginalized substance, is now a luxury product and status symbol. And make no mistake, the cannabis market is highly profitable and could be more dangerous than you think. And there's more. Pop culture doesn't help. Movies, music, and even influencers are, in a way, romanticizing cannabis use. Now that we've covered the benefits and the risks, the question remains, how should you decide if cannabis is right for you? First, the simplest rule. Consult a doctor. Don't fall for the trap of thinking cannabis will solve all your problems. While there's data proving the plant's efficacy for certain conditions, it's not a magic fix. Second, analyze the risks. If you have mental health issues or a history of addiction, cannabis may not be the best option. For recreational use, always remember, moderation is key. Finally, consider alternatives. Cannabis can be a useful tool for some, but for many, there are other treatments that are just as effective and carry fewer risks. In summary, cannabis is a double-edged sword. It can be an effective medicine for some conditions, but it also brings considerable risks. If you choose to use it, do so responsibly and under medical supervision. The decision is yours. But before anything, do your research and don't get swept up in the cultural wave without understanding the true pros and cons. If you liked the video, like, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you in the next video, where we'll talk about another hot and controversial topic.